We have a huge show for you tonight. He is an MLB inside reporter who has been with MLB Network since 2009. You also have to follow him on Twitter since he is the one who seems to always get first and reporting a major deal or a trade, and he is a man that needs no introduction, but got one anyways, Mr. Ken Rosenthal. So Ken, how are you doing tonight?
Well, Alex, thank you for having me.
So let's start off first about your famous bow tie. So I love this idea, by the way. So how did this huge idea come up?
Well, it was several years ago, right before the World Series, the head of Fox Sports at the time told everyone but me that he wanted me in a bow tie. He thought that would distinguish me. It wasn't an idea I particularly liked, but he was the boss, so I wore it during the World Series. That winter, someone named Donnie Jones, a former NFL player, approached me, and he had this charity, actually a nonprofit called the Bow Tie Cause, in which people wore bow ties, or they designed bow ties to represent different charities, different organizations, and sold them with a portion going to each charity. So I thought, well, I really don't want to wear bow ties again. I don't like wearing bow ties, but Fox is probably going to make me wear bow ties. So I might as well get ahead of the curve here and turn it into a positive. And that's really how it came about. We started doing it full-time 2011, and this will be, my 6th year doing it.
Yeah, wow. I love the idea. So let's switch gears to the offseason now. It's wrapping up in a few weeks here. So in one word, how would you say this offseason has been?
If I had one word to describe this offseason, I would say strange.
Yep.
And I say that because the market developed so slowly, because it was so flooded with players, and is flooded with players even now.
Yeah.
And you're seeing, of course, some players struggling to get the deals that maybe they envisioned earlier. And, of course, I'm talking now about the 3 guys attached to qualifying offers, Desmond, Fowler, and Gallardo. Ultimately, they could prove to be fine, but we've already seen Howie Kendrick take a deal that was much less than we thought. Most of the free agents did just fine, the big ones. Did above or at expectations, but it has been strange in that we're sitting here on February 3rd, and there still are a lot of significant players out there.
So why do you think that is? Why are there so many good players out there that still haven't been signed?
I'm not sure. Part of it might be teams continue to work on trades. Part of it might be teams that want to give up the draft picks for the qualifying offer players. And part of it is that the market develops so slowly, it's just backed up some of the lesser guys. And I'm talking about the Pedro Alvarez's, the David Murphy's, Will Venables. They're still waiting for some of the bigger players to sign ahead of them, and they're not signed.
So like you just said about Pedro Alvarez and a big injury that happened a few days ago, Greg Bird for the Yankees, went down with a torn labrum. So do you think the Yankees are targeting Pedro Alvarez for a backup first baseman?
I don't, because if you think about it, Alex, Greg Bird wasn't going to be on the Major League roster anyway. He was going to be a guy who started the year at AAA, served as insurance if Teixeira got hurt or if A-Rod got hurt. And they have players who can fill that role right now. One of them, of course, is Dustin Ackley, who is a guy that can play some first base. Another one would be Carlos Beltran, who obviously is a right fielder, but he could be the DH if A-Rod went down, and then you'd have Aaron Hicks playing in the outfield. So they may need someone for more depth, but I don't think they need someone who can play or who would want to play every day.
So another question here is, do you think Gary Sanchez could be that backup first baseman?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. I don't know that he's played enough first base where I'd be comfortable with that. I would think Ackley would be ahead of him.
Okay. So with the AL East this year, who do you think has won the offseason so far in that league, and who's your prediction?
Well, Boston probably has won the offseason, if you want to say that, simply by getting David Price. That's the best acquisition of any team. But the Yankees have done okay. Chapman, assuming he's able to pitch and not suspended, is a good addition, obviously. Starlin Castro I liked. Hicks I liked. The Blue Jays have not done anything major, but they've reinforced their pitching staff. The Orioles have done well to keep Davis, Wieters, and O'Day. And then there are the Rays, who actually have had a pretty good offseason themselves. So it should be quite a competitive division. Don't ask me for a prediction, man. I'm always wrong.
So as the offseason is wrapping up, too, and besides the AL East, who do you think has won overall this season?
Who has won the offseason, or who do I like this season?
Or how do you think who won the offseason so far?
Okay. Difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, let me think about this for a second. Well, the Mets certainly did well by getting Cespedes back, on top of the other moves that they made to improve their depth. I like what they've done, and the Cubs would be probably the big winner. Hayward, Lackey, and Zobrist certainly spent the most money.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants also did well. Samardzija and Cueto, though I'm not convinced either's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So I would name those teams to start with. And in the American League, we really haven't seen a team have that dramatic an improvement other than maybe the Red Sox with Price. Everybody else has done okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Tigers certainly have made some moves, but that was kind of to get back to square one, it seemed.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the bigger moving teams have been in the National League.
Mm-hmm. So like you just said, the signing of David Price for the Red Sox, do you see the Red Sox improving in their rankings as the last year team didn't do that good? Because a lot of people said they were missing that strong starting pitcher number one. So is the Red Sox a better team, and do you think they have a better chance at winning the American League East?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly some of the younger players emerged in the second half. Betts, Bogarts really came on. Swihart we're going to see more of this year as well. And they have some exciting talent. There's no doubt about it. And if they can get Sandoval back to where he was, and Hanley Ramirez, somewhat capable at first base, they should be okay. Pedroalvarez healthy, all that's working in their favor. But it's the kind of thing where I want to see it before I believe it. They certainly had a team that looked very good on paper at the start of last season, and it didn't work out very well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last question here before we wrap up this interview is I just want to say, I read an article a few days ago that you wrote, and the title was Baseball Execs Can't Lose Sight of the Human Element in Making Decisions. And I just want to say this might have been my favorite article I think I've ever read. So I just want to ask you to quickly... Huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I just want to ask you to quickly explain what was going on in Toronto that night, and for your perspective, because I know you wrote it, and I want you to say what you saw there that night.
Okay, sure. Well, I went to an event in Toronto in which I spoke with two writers who cover the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
There were about maybe 100 to 200 people there. And it was a basic question and answer session, and going along smoothly, routinely, when someone asked about the Blue Jays extending Jose Bautista, who is a free agent at the end of the season. And I gave the typical answer that a baseball writer would give now. Well, Bautista's going to be 36. Teams don't like aging players.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to command a lot of money. They probably will let him move on. And the other two guys agreed, except the second one, Arden Zwelling from Rogers Sportsnet, said, but here is an argument for keeping Jose Bautista. And it's, on some level, he felt they should just ask Bautista what he wants and give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd started cheering. And then Arden kept talking and making this case very eloquently.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd continued cheering and hooting and yelling. And I was struck by just how passionate the fans were and how they don't care about computer analysis
mm-hmm.
of a player's aging curve, payroll efficiency, all the things we talk about, the front offices work toward, the writers write about.
Mm-hmm.
They have their favorite players. And basically the point of the article was not just with evaluation, but in game management and everything. There's a human element that when we discuss all of the things that we can get available information-wise on the computer, through programs, whatever, you get lost with that. You lose that part of it. And the point of the article was that shouldn't be lost. That's a big part of the game. It's a big part of the game for fans. They relate to players on an emotional level.
Mm-hmm.
And I fear that the sport, to some degree, is losing its heart with
mm-hmm.
this. And it's inevitable. It's a $9 billion industry. We get it. We understand that you have to make good business decisions. But at the same time, there's that other part of baseball, and that's what I don't want to see lost.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ken, and those are perfect words right there. So, and I just want to say thank you for coming on and taking the time, and I really do appreciate you coming on this Sports Fusion episode.
All right, Alex. Good luck to you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.